Asbestos mesothelioma risk, the silent killer stalking in your vicinity. What are the asbestos risk factors? Mesothelioma cancer statistics indicate that specific environments, industries and jobs have a higher mesothelioma risk. The risk of getting cancer from asbestos is very real. The risk factor is anything that increases your chance of getting the diagnosis, malignant mesothelioma. But having a risk factor, or even several asbestos disease risk factors, does not mean that you will develop mesothelioma lung cancer. Exposure to asbestos is the main risk factor for developing mesothelioma injury. This injury could develop into full-fledged mesothelioma lung cancer. So, what are the risk asbestos factors? And how do we manage the risk of asbestos exposure? Mesothelioma statistics reveal that 2,000 to 3,000 new mesothelioma cases annually receive the diagnosis, malignant mesothelioma. Approximately 70 to 80% of all cases of mesothelioma are found to be the direct result of asbestos exposure. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), as many as 750,000 schools and public buildings in the country today contain asbestos insulation. These were built before new asbestos mesothelioma laws started to constrain the use of asbestos early in the 1970s. Asbestos insulation may be found in as many as 10% to 15% of schools in the United States. Industrial risk. What is the industrial asbestos risk of your workplace? The mesothelioma risk attached to various industries can be plotted on a continuum, from high industrial risk to the least risk. Firstly, you must identify asbestos content inherent to your building, equipment, raw materials or products. Then compare this information with mesothelioma statistics for your industry. Environmental risk. What is the asbestos risk of your environment? Asbestos minerals are widespread in the global environment. Asbestos risk may occur in large natural deposits, or as contaminants in other minerals and products. If you are exposed to asbestos, many factors determine asbestos exposure risk and potential asbestos-related diseases. These factors include the how much, how long, the mineral form and size distribution, and how you come in contact with it. Studies have shown that smokers are more prone to asbestos disease than non-smokers. Does the silent killer stalk your workplace? The Control of Asbestos at Work Regulations (CAWR) place the duty on employers to identify and assess occupational asbestos risk. Asbestos disease risk. Asbestos disease risk is the risk of serious disease after inhaling asbestos dust. In industry, they separate and process asbestos fibers into new compounds and textures, forming a microscopic dust. If inhaled, it can collect in the lungs, stomach or other organs and eventually lead to the development of serious, life-threatening asbestos diseases. A mesothelioma prognosis is almost never favorable. Asbestos products risk. Asbestos products risk. The silent killer stalking. The risk of mesothelioma lung cancer from asbestos insulation, asbestos siding, asbestos tile, asbestos flooring, and a host of other products exist everywhere around us. Asbestos was not only cheap to buy, but it is also pliable and sometimes soft like cotton. Some forms of asbestos fibers have cloth-like qualities. Asbestos fibers can't therefore be easily woven into fireproof protection apparel for rescue officials and firefighters. Items for other professionals and workers who are exposed to high heat are also manufactured, creating asbestos products risk. Its industrial properties was in strong demand during the Industrial Revolution. An estimated 4,000 products made during the 1900s contained asbestos fibers. Asbestos risk assessment. You need specialist advisors to perform an asbestos risk assessment in managing and preventing mesothelioma injury. Their asbestos testing protocol and results are also invaluable for mesothelioma research projects. All entries in the company's asbestos register become vital in the event that you receive a call from an asbestos lawyer who works on a mesothelioma claim. City and town management are increasingly being held responsible for asbestos exposure in the areas under their management. It is expected that the focus in this regard will soon expand to seaside venues. Asbestos used to be the building material of choice close to the oceans. Asbestos risk management. Asbestos risk management is the legal responsibility of every manager or owner of a business, or landlord. Asbestos mesothelioma law is clear. ITO management's responsibility. There is an increased global effort to minimize asbestos exposure, cut down on mesothelioma injury and asbestosis mesothelioma. This was driven in part by the large asbestos settlements granted in mesothelioma lawsuits. Early in the 1970s we saw the first drafts of mesothelioma cancer law accepted by various regulating bodies of developed countries internationally. However, in a country like South Africa, laws were only made in 2008 to finally control the mining and manufacturing of asbestos products. Most asbestos products are reasonably safe if it is kept undisturbed, painted and well maintained. However, most people will be surprised to notice the large number of asbestos products in their living and work environments that are poorly maintained. http://www.mesotheliomaattorneyfreeconsultation.com. Francisco Rodriguez. About the author: do you need a mesothelioma lawyer?